One of my followers on Instagram sent me this story right here that is coming out of Texas at this school called Granbury Middle School, where you're probably looking at this like, what's going on here? So you see a picture of the school on the left and a picture of someone putting hand sanitizer on the right. So basically what happened was it was a science experiment gone wrong. As a matter of fact, I'm trying to figure out how this even became a science experiment, where the science teacher put hand sanitizer on the student's hand, who I believe is 12 years old, and then set it on fire. Why? How was that even deemed a science experiment is what I'd like to know. Hand sanitizer, one of its main ingredients is alcohol, because alcohol kills germs. Why would they put fire, something that would ignite, on a kid's hands? Now you done scarred this kid for life. Now I don't know how serious the burns are, but the kid did, of course, end up being burned because of it. And who knows if the fire actually spread, because when you move erratically and you don't get the fire out immediately, it will spread out, because that's skin and flesh being burned. And I've been burned before, not with fire, but with hot grease. Thankfully, the grease was not too hot, but it was hot enough to leave a burn on my leg, but not to the point like that it went through the skin and you could see the flesh. But it was probably a 1st-degree burn at least. And if that, for me having a 1st-degree burn from from grease, I can pretty much guess, or not even guess, but assume what an actual fire would feel like thanks to hand sanitizer. Why was the teacher even allowed to do that? And then I read on somewhere where it said the teacher had did this experiment a couple of other times throughout the day. Now, my question is this: if those were successful, how was this one not? That was my biggest takeaway from that. But I'm going to go ahead and read the article and see what else they're talking about. A Texas middle school teacher who burned a student when she put hand sanitizer on his hands and lit them on fire as a part of a science experiment has resigned. Granbury police said they responded to Granbury Middle School Friday for a report of a student who had been burned on campus. Investigators determined that a 37-year-old teacher put hand sanitizer in the hands of a 12-year-old male student and lit the hand sanitizer as a part of a science experiment. The experiment had been done multiple times throughout the day with other students without incident, but the 12-year-old suffered possible 3rd-degree burns on his hands. Yeah, that's bad. That 3rd-degree burn, that's like one of the worst burns you can get. That definitely penetrated through the skin, for sure. His condition was unknown Thursday. The investigation into the incident will be submitted to the district attorney when it is completed. A statement from Granbury Independent School said in a statement that the teacher involved in the incident had resigned and is no longer a district employee. Granbury is about 40 miles southwest of Fort Worth. What I would like to know is, why didn't they put out the identity of the teacher? Now they gave sorry about that. They gave away the age of the teacher, saying they were 37, but they didn't say who the teacher was. They just said, oh, it was a 37-year-old teacher. They did this dumb experiment by putting hand sanitizer, an alcohol-based substance, into a student's hand and lit it on fire as a part of a science experiment, and that they resigned. No, I feel like when something like this happens, they need to put the identity of the person out there. And I need to know if this person had charges brought up against them. Like, who does that as a form of a science experiment? There could be other forms of science experiments that you could do that involves another human being, no matter what the age, that does not involve putting them in harm's way. Like, this kid suffered 3rd-degree burns on both of their hands. Like I said before, they are scarred for life. Like, are they insane? Like, for real. I'm telling you, some of these new teachers are wild. And this person is 37, so they're in my age bracket. They got, 4 years on me? Almost 4 years on me. Like, what were you thinking? Probably one of the dumbest things a teacher could have done outside of messing around with their student. I don't know. Some of these teachers need to be screened a little bit better. And I bet you this is some kind of experiment that they did probably or saw online somewhere. It probably is something they saw online, because I remember it was a trend where you had people rubbing alcohol or peroxide or whatever, something flammable on their body, and then setting themselves on fire. Like, who does that? The trends people come up with and try to do. And I would like to know, what was the point of the experiment? Like, what was this supposed to accomplish? Because usually when you do a science experiment, it's supposed to be like a cause and effect type of thing. It starts here and it ends here. And then you talk about the processes. I don't know what the experiment was supposed to be of hand sanitizer and lighting your hands on fire. Like, we already know, common sense tells us that if you put hand sanitizer on or anything alcohol based on you that's highly flammable and set it on fire, it's going to burn. Like, come on now, how old are we? We're not children. And even kids know that. But yeah. Just watch these so-called teachers. They are getting dumber by the day. That's all I gotta say.